What's up, everyone? It's Mark here with Leveled Up, joining you for another round of Ask a Life Coach. As always, I don't know what's in the basket, but let's find out. Is there such a thing as true love, happily ever after, the one? Whew. Okay. There's a big question. True love. Sure. Yes. Love is a thing. Let's start there. Let's not start trying to define it, though, because I think we'll run into all kinds of problems. But finding people that add value to your life, finding people who bring joy and who are fun to share experiences with, who you're connected to in important ways, yes, that's absolutely possible. And most of us will connect much more strongly with some people than other people for reasons that are often quite mysterious to us. And that's perfectly okay too. True love, sure, just depends on how you define the term. Happily ever after, the one. Happily ever after is an interesting phrase because your happiness is really not contingent upon your relationship status, nor is it the job of your partner to ensure that you experience it, right? So happiness is an internal, subjective thing. It's not based on circumstances. So if the question is asking, if I just find one really special person, will I then always be happy? The answer is, of course, no. Happiness is not that kind of thing. Happiness is your own prerogative. It's your own, I don't want to say job, but it's your own business to figure out what makes you happy, to continue to take good care of yourself and to bring those things into your world. The one. No, I mean, I'm very skeptical of this concept of the one for several reasons. One of which is just that, as we've talked about in other videos, identity is not fixed. So you in this moment may be perfect for some other individual in this moment, but as time goes by, neither of you will be the same people that you are now. And you may grow and change in ways that are super compatible, and you may continue to thrive as a result. Or you may grow and change in ways that are less compatible, and maybe that's okay too, obviously. I think it's important that we remain fluid and flexible and open to possibilities in relationships. There's a bit of a monogamy bias in this question, or at least in the wording of the one. So I suppose another direction one might take this is to say, is monogamy the only relationship structure within which people can find happiness? And there I'm happy to give a pretty resounding no. There are many different non-monogamous ways to structure your relationship that could be incredibly satisfying. Is polyamory for everybody? Probably not. But is monogamy for everybody? Also probably not. So relationships are interesting, and you have a lot of freedom to construe them as you will. I think it's important to be kind and be compassionate to whoever is in your life. But sometimes when you say, like, this person is the one and therefore it has to work out and we have to be together forever and nothing else matters other than this relationship, you can get in kind of an imbalanced state of mind where you lose some perspective. You maybe make some compromises or sacrifices that don't end up being worthwhile. You can lose part of your identity if you're not careful. So, I would say by all means, prioritize the people that you love, prioritize the people that you care about. But this idea that there is one single human who's on a completely different playing field and you just either have to find them or keep them and then everything's good. And that if you don't have that somehow you're completely and totally lacking. That idea seems to me to be pretty flawed and pretty false. And perhaps we'll talk more about polyamory and different ways that can look in another video, because that's a pretty big rabbit hole to go down. And I'm not sure that was intended by this question. But true love, sure. Yes, love is everywhere. The possibility for authentic, genuine, true, joyful connection is everywhere. Happily ever after, Happiness is a state of mind. I recommend contentment over happiness, though, because when you make happiness a goal, it puts a lot of pressure on it, right? I'm going to go do this activity because I want that to make me happy. Well, now you've reduced life to kind of this extrinsic thing where you're seeking out something else, and you kind of set yourself up for failure. Oh, it didn't make me happy, so I'm failing. Or, oh, I'm sad today, so I'm failing. And of course, none of that is the case. You're allowed to experience the full range of human emotion. So I think contentment might be a better word. Contentment being, I'm okay even when I'm not okay. I'm okay even though I'm sad today. I allow myself to feel sad. It's part of the human experience. I'm not sad that I'm sad. I'm not judging that I'm sad. I'm just being a human and living my life. So happily ever after, probably not. Contented ever after? Absolutely. But contentment has to be internal, right? If your contentment is based on your circumstances, then it is constantly threatened because circumstances change, relationship statuses change, people change. So there's not a lot that you can guarantee that you can hold on to in life, really, other than yourself. So you can be content ever after, so long as you're content. You know you're going to be all right, right? You're fine being by yourself. You're fine being with other people. You're fine however things play out. Then yeah, contented ever after is a thing. But if your happiness is contingent upon your relationship status or upon you being with a certain partner, then I think frustrated, disappointment, all of these things are much more likely to be in your future than contentment. And again, as far as the one goes, I think that the fact that people can have thriving polyamorous relationships is in and of itself enough to prove that the concept of the one may be slightly flawed. And of course, most people who do monogamy practice some form of serial monogamy, which means they find the one until they move on to the one, and then they hope that finally they found the one. And it's possible that the problem wasn't any of the former individuals or any of those relationships, but the amount of pressure and expectations. We expected one individual to meet all of our needs forever, and then circumstances changed, we changed, dynamics changed, and we were surprised somehow. So yeah, I think if we ask the impossible of ourselves or of others, then we're always going to be discontent. But if we let go of some of that, then yes, we can find true love. Yes, we can find happiness, and more importantly, contentment. And we can prioritize whatever people we care about in whatever capacity we care about them. So I love the question. I really appreciate the submission. I hope some of what I said was helpful or useful. And as always, I look forward to seeing you back here in the next video.